with all of this planning, we have this first layer, which is essentially how do we qualify for Medicaid, or how do we qualify sooner? But, and beyond that, we also have estate recovery. And if we go to a nursing home, we receive Medicaid. When we pass away, obviously the state is going to come after certain assets. I know some states are more aggressive than others. How does this work in Washington? And, which assets are sort of at their disposal and which aren't? And, is there anything you can do planning wise, that would fall into the realm of estate recovery planning, but essentially trying to retain the assets after you pass away as well for your family?
Yeah. So part of the agreement, in Washington as in other places, is that when you go onto the Medicaid program, there are rules about how the state may assert a lien or claim on assets that you have after you pass away. It's kind of an agreement where they'll say, hey, yeah, you can still continue to own a home and be on our long-term care program without spending down the value of that home first. But if you still own that home when you pass away, then we have a right to recover the amount we've spent on behalf of you for your care. If you're married, it's very straightforward. You can transfer your interest in your home to your spouse, and that won't be subject to estate recovery. So the law has a lot of preferential treatment like that for people who are married, because transfers between spouses aren't subject to a gifting penalty. If you're not married, if you're single, then sometimes it's just a matter of making sure your heirs know about estate recovery and have an expectation that this will happen. It's still, even when estate recovery occurs, it's still only for the dollar value that Medicaid has paid for your care at the Medicaid reimbursement rate, and there's no interest that's accruing on that. So, one way to look at it is that you and your family are able to continue owning the home. It's continuing to appreciate in value during that time while you're in long-term care. And the Medicaid lien on it is only going to be for the care that was paid for at the Medicaid reimbursement rate. And that's a lot lower than what you would have had to pay if you had to sell the home and pay for the care privately. So I always try to help people understand this isn't punitive, but you do need to understand it and set your expectations accordingly.